executive that even pays issues of funding. My sister was talking about let it go to public hearing first. We here have far more important and very serious bills that we are controlling that are still online trying to disable because of the challenges of funding. So we have to be realistic and make sure that when bills are sponsored, in fact, there is nothing stopping an Ogojama from going to Calabar, going to Kano. I school with Ogoja people in my university. So the university doesn't have to be cited for reasons, for political reasons, or for the fact that I'm coming from that particular constituency. It should be because it's very important that we have it, one, and equally we can be able to finance it and make sure that we produce quality education, not only just citing the listen. There are calls by some professors I saw on Nightlife about 3-4 weeks ago, where some professors were saying that some of our universities need to be closed down. So it's not only sponsoring a university, but equally what would at the end of the day the university will produce. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I think this bill does not even deserve to go for second reading. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Honorable Rima.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Rumande Shawulu Kwewum, representing Takum, Donga, Usa, and Yangtu Federal Constituency in Taraba State. Mr. Speaker, I want to call our attention to three important things. The first thing is that last two months ago, we were in Ghana. We met with the Nigerian High Commissioner in Ghana. Ghana is hosting 80,000 Nigerian students who don't have space. Nigerian students who don't have space in Nigerian universities. Former ASU president, I was speaking with him the other day, Dr. Fagye from Kano. 1,500,000 students applied and started for JAM. There is admission vacancy in all the private universities and the federal and the government-owned universities, both state and federal level, for only 250,000. About 1.something million don't have spaces in Nigerian universities. Today, about 2016, Nigerian students and parents spent over £300 million in school fees for their children in the United Kingdom. Ghana, 2016, we sent 5 billion naira as school fees. So, as far as I'm concerned, whether there's need for more universities or no, or there is very, very, very serious need for more spaces in Nigerian universities. The private universities, I've forgotten the percentage. I have spaces for just about 20% of all the current spaces in Nigerian universities. So private universities cannot substitute for public universities. Indeed, if you go to Rwanda today or other parts of private schools are closing down because they don't have the same quality of public schools. Presently, most private universities don't have the resources, don't have the equipment to train students the way they should be trained. Let's not throw away the baby with the baby water. That is number two, sir. The second point I want to make is that we have a parliamentary process that someone comes in, we talk about the general principle, whether this bill is good or not. The bill is good. We send it to the next stage, the committee. There are so many bills with the committee. The committee is going to study them. The committee is coming back with recommendations to this parliament for us to take a decision. And it's not everything that goes into a committee that is set up to study and look at the needs and what should be done that comes back here automatically. May I want to plead that this bill, as we have done with all other bills on colleges of education, on polytechnics, and on universities, that the general principle of this bill, that is a good bill, is a good initiative by our member. We should send this bill to the next stage so that further studies are done on it and we receive recommendations in these chambers where we can take decision. We should not throw away the baby, good baby at this stage with the baby water. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Dambara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Dambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal, the only gentleman from the municipality in the whole of the Great Chambers, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, let me thank Honorable Shaulu for his contribution. And I think I will lean more, or my debate or my contribution will lean more on the contribution coming from Shaul. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, it is a clear thing in Nigeria that every year we have a certain number of students who have done JAM looking for spaces within the Nigerian universities. And those spaces are not available because those universities cannot accommodate them, or they cannot provide those spaces. And this is a very big challenge. And I think it is one of these big challenges that perhaps maybe Honorable Betty was raising, that states also need to come out and support. And I recall that the university that we established in Kano is basically to continue to support other universities. And that was why during our regime in Kano, we established the university that we call the Northwest University, which is in addition to the Udil, that is the Kano State Science University in Udil. Additionally, also, what we did was to support students in perhaps maybe, trying to make certain arrangement with universities in how they can accommodate those students by creating or constructing accommodation for those students who are coming from Kano. This is something that the state can do to support them. But coming back to the bill that Honorable Jaribe, I think, presented, he has done his part. As a member representing his people, and why are we here in the parliament? We are here to represent our people. We are here to ensure that we give good representation to our people. We are here to ensure that what is good for our people is taken to our people. And he has done that part of it. And I think what Honorable Shaulu is saying, that if the bill is passed with this second reading, it will go to the committee. All the debates and all the arguments we are putting forward in terms of whether it is strategic, whether the costs can be accommodated, are issues that can be discussed at the committee level and can be trashed at the committee level. So I will urge my honorable colleagues to allow this bill to pass, this second reading, so that it can go to the committee, because I think the fear that we have is the issue that has to do with the cost implication. We have passed so many bills in this house where these bills have gone to the executive, and they have not passed through the executive in terms of they have been torn down because of what is in or the other. And they will still come back to the house. If the house, have seen that those bills are important, they will still review them and take them back to the executives, and until we have done our part in terms of ensuring that the bill is passed. So to me, Jaribe has done what he needs to do as representing his people, because he knows the need of his people. And each one of us that is here is representing his people, and each one of us knows the need of his people. And that is why we're here, to present the need of our people. So I am urging honorable members, please, my honorable colleagues, support this bill. Let it pass the second reading so that it can go to the committee level, and then in that committee level, we can all debate and argue whatever we want to argue. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Brown.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Randolph Iworene Brown, representing Degma Bonifera constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this very important and very thoughtful bill being sponsored by my good friend Jarigbe. One, we should ask, is there any need for additional university in this country? I think to me the answer is yes. Some of my colleagues have given justification in terms of facts and figures. And I also thank Jarigbe for taking us into memory lane. One, that Calabar, the capital of Cross River State, had been the capital of this country. You also told us that Ogoja, one of the oldest provinces, is still like a ghost town. And if we should be fair, we should know that we need federal government presence in most of these areas. What is the level of federal government presence in Cross River State? Is it fair for our children to drive 6 hours in search of the golden fleece with the level of poverty in an agrarian society like Cross River State? To me, it is not fair. So I feel that we need more federal government presence in Cross River State. Cross River State are also made some sacrifices by the government ceding Bakassi, an oil producing area, to the Cameroons, putting us in a very tight corner. How will the people feel that they are always on the sacrificial side? So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I wish to urge all of us to please support this very good and important bill that will enhance the development of our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Pategi.
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, my name is Honorable Aliyu Aman Pategi. I represent Edumoro Party Federal Constituency. I'm from Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, I want to start from where the Rules and Business Chairman took up from earlier, after Honorable Jarigbe Agon moved his motion, his bill. My belief is that yes, it is every local government that intends that there should be federal presence in their locality. And yes, it is true that we are representing the people. And if we can, everybody will want one university in its federal constituency. But the point being made by Rules and Business is that effect to most of our motions and bills to the executive are lying here, and it's got over 40 of such infrastructure-based bills that no effect has been given to it. If we continue in this fashion, our bills will not have any effect because these things have budgetary implications. That's number one. Number two, we agree that Nigerian population is growing. 198 as given by the Nigerian National Population Commission. Yes, 2 million shy of 200 million. But the problem with our universities is that we don't even have the trained teachers. That's the number one problem. And the person training our teachers now is National University Commission itself, because they don't have enough money to train more and more teachers for our universities. Is why they are giving scholarships to people with masters to go abroad within Nigeria also to read PhDs. And they've come up with the minimum standard for teachers in the university. If you don't have a PhD, you cannot teach in a university. That is the NUC standard. Also, this is a guide to our new members. Yes, there's pressure on us to make bills, to pass bills. My constituents every day, I see on WhatsApp messages on our party, how many bills have you moved? how many motions have you moved? I know we have all these pressures, but it shouldn't be for something as important as this. It is the Ministry of Education that is saddled with this responsibility. So to lobby them is part of our representative function. To lobby the ministry, if they have a plan to set up more universities, write them, go to them, lobby them, so that yours will be one of those that will be established. But beyond that, the reason NUC is asking for private universities is because they've discovered that government doesn't even have the required amount to fund the current universities that we have. If you look at it, I'll give an example. University of Ilorin, in 41 years, has 40-something thousand students in 41 years of establishment. And they can only provide accommodation for 3,500 students. And that is the bane of most of our universities. Why? Because the cost that government is charging each student for accommodation is 10,000 naira. And they are having to ask private people to come and set up more hostels in University of Ilorin so that out of the 40-something thousand students, more people can be admitted to live on campus. These are really the problem. It is not just multiplying universities and making them into centers that can never take us to where we want our nation to move to. Please, it is the same problem we have with roads, where the federal government has had to take some roads as truncated roads. The ones that are given to our states, they are even unable to fund it. Not to talk of the ones that are with the local government. I want to beg my friend that we also know that there is Federal College of Education in Obudu right now. And it is the only one that is awarding degrees. The only Federal College of Education that I know that awards degrees. And it is just 1 hour drive from Ogojak. And also, I want my colleague to please step down this bill. If you insist you want to move it, yes, why not? It might be in the archive. But it doesn't, we should take leave from what rules and business is saying. The more we keep bringing out bills that we know executive will never establish such infrastructure-related agencies of government, the more our work will not have a meaning. And the more and more they will not respect our bills. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. My name is Adekunle Abdulkabir Akinlade, member representing your South Ikokia Prime Constituency of Ogun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise honestly to support this bill as moved by Honorable Jeribe. And my reasons are, Mr. Speaker, there is no amount, Mr. Speaker, there is too much to invest in education. Mr. Speaker, I'm from a border community in Ikokia and Yewa South. And I will tell you, Mr. Speaker, that when I left secondary school, most of the people that did so well in their WAEC but didn't have the opportunity to further their education, not because they didn't do well in school, but simply because they couldn't have access to higher institution because of the distance. Some people can't even afford to travel 2-3 hours, even how to settle down, talk less of going 6 hours, as my brother said. Mr. Speaker, this should not just be about establishing, we should not look at it from the angle of just establishing another university. No, we're talking about the need of the people. We're spending so much money in so other infrastructures. Go and look at any country that has developed. Take America, take anywhere in the world. If we sit down to look at per capita, how much they invest on education, this is not too much. No, going by our population in this country, Mr. Speaker, no amount of institution. What we should, Mr. Speaker, what this house should be doing is to look at our budget thoroughly and make sure that the right amount funds are made available for these schools. Because our future is this youth. If we fail, at this point, say because we already have enough, and we hide under the excuse that because we already have one institution or the other in one state, so therefore we should not establish another. the people who are establishing these private universities are doing it for business, not in the interest of the people. So if we continue to count how many private universities are in a state, by a location, and for that we now deny the common man, their children, who should afford and avail this education, and say they should not, because we already have private universities in those areas, it's unfair, Mr. Speaker. We are here as representative of the people. We should make sure that institutions that will serve the purpose of the common man is established and monies are put in those institutions. For if you look at most of the people who are agitating today that this thing should not be, are people who either they have interest in private universities or one or the other. We should look beyond that and think about the common man, that this is for the best interest of those that will benefit, those who will not be able to afford to go to the private universities. And I think, Mr. Speaker, that this is a very useful, a very courageous bill that should be encouraged by every member of this House, that it is not just about its people alone, but we're talking about the common man that will benefit from this school when it's established. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oguma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And my distinguished colleagues, I am Honorable Johnson Egwahide Oguma. I represent all the people of Ezako Federal Constituency from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by saying that education is a necessity and very, very important. I want to say that were it not that there was a secondary school in my village, I would have remained a farmer. Because I had to farm, to pay fee, to buy uniform, and to buy books. Because I needed a place to go to farm to raise money to go to school. Ogoja is a very old province in this country. And not just that, as responsible representative, our duty is to identify area of needs, and for us to come here to present it before the honorable members that are representing our people in this assembly. And more also too, I've discovered that our people would rather prefer to be educated without a job than to be uneducated at the same time without a job, which is very, very dangerous. So, Mr. Speaker, our responsibility is to make laws, and the responsibility of the executive is to find a way and means of funding university education or education as a whole. So I wholeheartedly support this bill, that it be read second time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Garwe Uduma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Gariwe Idumaimo. I represent Africa North, Africa South Federal Constituency. I'm from Ebonyi State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this bill. One is that I agree with my colleagues who have said that we can't have enough of higher institutions in this country. We can't have enough of education in this country. If there's one problem we have, in fact, it is that we don't have enough of it. Mr. Speaker, I stand on a constitutional provision, which is section 18 of our constitution, which, let me read, section 18:1 says, government shall direct its policy towards ensuring that there are adequate and equal educational opportunities at all levels. 18:2 says, government shall promote science and technology. Mr. Speaker, what we are speaking about is a member asking that an institution of science and technology be established in his area. And just like the last speaker spoke, as if he knows Ogoja very well, where I come from, Africa North and South, in fact, my entire senatorial district used to be under Ogoja province, even though today it is in Ebonyi State. So I speak about a province that is just not, or an area that is not just a local government. I think if there's any part of that area that deserves a federal university, particularly a federal university of technology, we should be thinking of Ogoja. Thank you.
Honorable Bonta.
I will kill it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Uzoma Nkim Abonta from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I've listened to all the argument canvassed in support of this bill. Mr. Speaker, they are very, very persuasive. Particularly the last speaker on this bill who cited a constitutional provision in support of the bill. We cannot progress without education. we can't do otherwise. But I want to make bold to say that in applying the constitutional provision, we must also apply some other indices. Mr. Speaker, I salute the courage of the removal of this bill, but I beg to oppose the bill. For a simple reason that we must do equity. We are bound to do justice. We are here to share. Mr. Speaker, there are some states yet to have a federal university. In Cross River State, you have 2 federal universities. Let me say, University of Calabar, the Federal College of Education of Butu, which is not up to 5 minutes drive to Goja, that awards degree. Mr. Speaker, in my state, we just have 1 federal university. We've been clamoring for 2. We don't have 1. No, we have half. University of Agriculture only. We've been clamoring for 2. Some other states don't have. They are clamoring some. In as much as we agree, this it. But we also to do, we must, in budgeting or spend or site infrastructure, we must balance it across the states or the federation. Ogoja is one of the oldest provinces. I agree. What he's asking for is subject to availability of funds by the rules and business side. For example, if we sit here now and say, at the 3rd university, when some states are yet to meet the constitutional provision, then we have turned to a house that is unfair to other states. If you look at some of those who ask for the politics and all whatnot, they ask it based on equity. They don't simply ask based on need only. They ask based on equity. We do not have. In federal character, if we are applying the principles of federal character, are we justifying in adding 3 universities when some don't have 1? The answer is no. I am happy the people will know he's working for them now. I wish today, Thursday, so they will see this canvassing that he's working for them. Sentiment apart, if we are to share, to give every state a sense of belonging, can we serve some states and add some? The answer is no. Therefore, in fact, if he's even asking for a polytechnic, we say, okay, that one does not exist to serve the middle class. But right now, they have 2, some do not have. I asked for a polytechnic for my state. Some other people also asked for. And if you look at all those who moved for college of education or universities, none exist in their place. Or they are asking for a second one. Asking for a 3rd one, honorable colleagues, will be Oliver Twisting. Asking for a 3rd one will be regional. But I salute his courage for knowing that his people need that. All we need to do at this point is to defer this bill, step it down, for the obvious reasons that we cannot put it in every other state. Otherwise, like the rules and business said, we may be making a jest of ourselves if we pass this bill and make it a law, and then they said, how can we accuse the executive again of not following the federal character or whatever, or compliance of constitutional rules in distribution of amenities? No, we should be fair to every state. In that wise, I want to be able to say that private universities should come in to fill the gap. It's a known fact that government has failed in education because they don't have the capacity to run it. Therefore, we should encourage people to put in private schools. Let me say one thing boldly. People are making reference to America. In America, 70% of the schools in America are private driven. In England, 60-70% of the schools there are private driven. Therefore, what stops us from having that? If it's easy, or if it's easy to start school, states will have been establishing state universities. Only few states like Abia, Lagos, and so on did that. So if Cross River State are in their need of this, they should help us to start their own state university so that we can take this university now to some states not having. I want to support that this bill, the content of this bill, should be lifted to any other state that does not have a university, so we can fill that gap. On that note, I want to caution and advise that we should step down this, persuade him to step down this bill on the basis of equity, fairness, and sharing equitably. I so argue, Mr. Speaker.
Last contributor, Honorable Pat Asado. Last.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Pat Asado. I represent Nsukka Igboeze South. I'm from Enugu State. And I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support in total this bill that hopes and is targeted at expanding not just the frontiers of education and opportunities for the future of Nigeria, but to do it in a sector of the economy where we are doing so badly that our technology is non-existent. We do not even know how to use appliances that are manufactured in other countries, much less manufacture our own. And I say this, especially in opposition to what my brother Abonta just argued, that if some states like Abia, which is a sister state, does not have, it does suggest that we should suppress the desire of Cross River to have, because Abia has not gotten. I do not really think that Abia getting precludes, Cross River getting precludes Abia from getting. What I think that Abia should do is to articulate their own needs and their own desire. And who had an understanding in this house before, Mr. Speaker, that this infrastructural base, our motions, we should allow them to be processed. If in the process of making it, actualizing it, we discover that the resources to do it is not there, then everybody sees that it's not feasible. Then for us to come here and redivide Nigeria into one state rising to oppose another because we think that you have 1-2 caps, especially when we're not just talking about routine education, but technological education. And I have been here, I was here when we argued for the Kaduna Polytechnic. I did argue for IFT. I know Yabatech was seriously canvassed, and I do think that all the universities in Nigeria put together, especially those that are pursuing technological and technical education or vocational education, they are not equal to a campus of a standard university in some other climes. So for us to reduce it and also say that we should use private universities as a corollary or an antidote to a people that desire, are willing to support federal government and thrive in technologically based institutions in their state, that why they will not get. Of course, we know that we have financial challenges, and we're not saying we should shut down the other sectors of the economy. This bill, as at this stage, is for you to go to second reading, where stakeholders from Abia, from Enugu, from all parts of this country will come and look at whether, one, we need to offer our children more opportunities to get education and get education and afford them employability and gainful employment, and also give them the competitive edge that the world is heading to. If we're talking about a university to maybe train administrators or train people that we think that Nigeria is heavy at, I'll be worried. But if we're looking at technology, where as I sit here, I do know that the gadgets that we use in this country are coming from countries that sometimes we are even more developed than. We're countries that our GDP, our population is bigger, but we don't just have the technological base to take off. And we're arguing based on small sentiments that we should not allow this bill to be studied in detail to see whether, we also turn ourselves into the executive to sit here and say that the resources to run this is not there. At the committee level, the executive will be there. All the agencies that will work on this and work with the established university will be there to say that it is feasible, it's not feasible, and they'll bring back the report. But for us to sit here and say that because you have one and I do not have one, is taking this our spread too literally. So, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, I think that I support that this bill be allowed to pass to second reading, and we allow the committee to do a whole-scale, full-time public hearing, so that all the arguments for and against will be canvassed, and we'll be better advised on whether Ogoja, if a University of Technology exists in Ogoja, whether it's for Ogoja people alone, or whether it is for Nigeria, and whether it is going to advance the cause of this country. Move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, I put the question. The question is the bill being now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology, Ogoja, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill is referred to Committee on Tertiary Education Services. Third order of the day, honorable colleagues, consideration of bill for an act to amend the Architects Registration, etc. Act, Chapter A19, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, to enhance the penalties and make appeals from the disciplinary committee lie to the High Court and for related matters. Honorable members who recall the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, 6 June 2017. Honorable Jonathan Gaza will move for its consideration.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Gaza Jonathan Befi, and I represent the people of Karu, Kefi, Kokona, Fera.
Order, please. Order, please.
I hereby wish to move that a bill
Honorable
for an
colleagues,
act
order,
to
please.
amend the Architects Registration ETC Act Cap A19 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to enhance the penalties and to make appeals from disciplinary committee lie to the High Court and for other related matters, HB 24 be read. I here move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Pondi Julos.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Julius Pondi. I represent the very good federal constituency, Mr. Speaker, in Zokume for Delta State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Gaza. I take second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Fourth order of the day, honorable colleagues, consideration of two reports of the Committee on Public Petitions. Honorable members who recall reports were laid on Tuesday, 5th December 2018. Honorable Uzoma Inkema Bonta will move for the consideration of the reports.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoma Nkem Abonta. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, may I humbly apply due to operational and technical reasons to step down the consideration of these reports to the next legislative day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abonta, you stepping it down?
For some technical and personal reasons, the reports are not available in office here, so I step it down.
Consideration of reports stepped down by leave of the House. Chairman Rules and Business, please move that we dissolve in the Committee of the Whole to consider the only report that is available.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku. My dear colleagues, I'm from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do resolve into Committee of the Whole for the purpose of consideration of the long report we have. I so move.
Seconder, Deputy Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Bintebello. I rise to second that the House resolve to Committee of the Whole. I so second.
I must press your ingenuity. I thought that you wouldn't even know what the subject matter of the motion is. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the report. Honorable Peace and Bago.
Honorable colleagues, please let's get done in the next 5 minutes. Let's get it done. Boma, Honorable Boma, go and sit. Ujam, go and sit. Atuwa, Dambara, go and sit. Honorable Keta, Baba Keta, go and take your seat. Dr. Salame Akilaja, please take your seat. Thank you very much. The only report we are about to consider is that of it belongs to the Committee of the Whole. It's a bill for now to amend Architect Registration etc. Act Chapter A19 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to enhance the penalties and to make appeals from the disciplinary committee lie to the High Court and for related matters. House Bill 254. And I invite Honorable Gaza. I think Gaza was the architect to speak to the report. Don't mind that. Wow, it's lost.
Honorable Chairman, honorable colleagues, Gaza Jonathan Befi, representing the people of Karukepi, Kokonapela constituency. What I have before is a very straightforward bill. It's just to amend 2 clauses of the Act. The first is for unprofessional conduct. Before now, cases resulting from unprofessional conduct were directed straight to the Court of Appeals, thereby denying the offenders or presumed offenders the right of adequate hearing, which is to say, first taking it from the first court of instance, which is the High Court, before going to the appeal and Supreme Court. So what we're saying is they be equally be given the right to be first heard from the High Court. So we're amending from section 13, subsection 5, to read we're removing Court of Appeal and replacing it with High Court. Then section 14, which is the second section for amendment, has to do with fines. We must agree that these laws were made a long time ago, and fines that were stipulated are grossly inadequate and will enhance misconduct and negligence. So we're replacing fines of 5,000 and 1,000 respectively with 500,000, and in section 14b, a fine of 1,000 with 200,000. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gaza. It's actually an amendment bill, and he has rightly stated the amendment seeks to amend section 13 and 14 of the principal acts. So let's now consider, they now come up with just 5 clauses. So clause 1, clause 2, clause 3. Clause 3, how many people want to speak on clause 3? Okay, let's start from Shagari, then Atoa. Dabara, are you a lawyer?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Clause 3, there's just the amendment there is not certain. We don't know what they want to say. If you look at the bottom of the clause 3 there, it says, yes, for 500,000 or to imprisonment not for a term of 2 years. I don't know what he's trying to say. Is it not exceeding the time of 2 years or not less than the time of 2 years? Well, if the previous provision is for a term not exceeding 2 years, I think maybe that's what they're trying to do. To say for a term, for an imprisonment not exceeding a term of 2 years. Not exceeding the term of for a term not exceeding 2 years. It depends on whether they want to put a ceiling or a floor. You know. Okay.
I think it's typographical. So if you look at the Principal Act, which says that for a term not exceeding 2 years, So not exceeding 2 years, for a term not exceeding, is missing in the amendment, and that is what you have to plug in. So Atuwa, is that what you are? So now let's listen to, okay, Pajok. No, let's listen to lawyer first, to all this you are doing.
Yes, sir. And to also further tie it, sir, if you look at the Extinct Act itself, the last line under offense says, or to both such fine and imprisonment. So if we say not exceeding 2 years, we should also add or to both such fine and imprisonment.
We should copy that entire that phrase and plug into the new amendment. So now, Dambara. If they cannot raise it, then we will review. If they cannot raise those issues, we will review their certificates. So clause 3, clause 4, clause 4. We have carried it too.
I think, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, what applied in clause 3 should also apply in this clause 4 in terms of the amendment, because they are saying that not exceeding, because they didn't say it, they only use the expression of 200,000. So it should also apply in the issue of the not exceeding 2 years or both. It should also apply. I'm not a lawyer, but I think I'm correcting the laws. Thank you, sir.
You are not a lawyer, but you have succeeded in copying what the lawyer has earlier said. Yes. So you are a copycat. Yes, it is true. His observation is true. We have to implant the earlier one too for a term not exceeding in this particular case. So clause 4. Clause 5. Explanatory memorandum. Long title of the bill. Chairman, rules and business. Chairman, rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise to move that the House do revert back to plenary to report progress. I so move.
Dambara. Second the motion. Are you the one presiding? You want to take over?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Honorable Dambram Abakanu, representing Kano Municipal. I so second. Thank you.
The House hereby reverts back to plenary to report progress. Colleagues, the House in the Committee of the Whole considered the report on a bill for an act to amend the Architects Registration, etc. Act, Chapter A-19, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to enhance the penalties and to make appeals from the Disciplinary Committee lie to the High Court and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 and 2, approve clauses 3 and 4 as amended, approve clause 5, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. Honorable Shagari.
May I move that we adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole? I so move.
Honorable Zakari.
I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Shagari, move for adjournment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Minister Shagari, Abu Shagari constituency in Sokoto State. May I move that this House do adjourn till tomorrow, tomorrow, Thursday, 11 o'clock. I so move.
To second the motion for adjournment ably moved by the acting chief whip.
The House stands adjourned till Thursday, 3rd of May 2018, 11 a.m.